Hi. So what are your sales like this year? Are they up? Are they down? Is your business booming more than ever before? Are you taking advantage of all the challenges that you've been faced with? Or are you suffering from those challenges? I've got someone who started a new career in January of this year with a new company, and with he never saw COVID coming, but we're talking about what he did to overcome those challenges and give you some great tips on how you can do it as well. So let's get into the show. So, hi, Sean.
Hey, Bruce, how are you?
So it is pronounced Sean, right? Because I heard once before that you're known as Sean Connery, right?
Yes, Sean Connery. That's my famous second grade joke when when a teacher said to me, Sean, I've never seen it spelled that way. And in second grade, my answer was, oh, you've never heard of Sean Connery. So kind of always been out there my life.
Luckily, you were born after 1960, because I think that's when the first Bond films came out.
Yes, I was born after 1960. Not too far after, but after 1960.
So were you named after Sean Connery?
Actually, I was named after Sean Connery and my great uncle Sam. My heritage is Jewish, and in Judaism, you name your children after dead relatives. However, you don't use their name because there's something just creepy about that.
So
I've never quite understood that.
So happy Yom Kippur, although it's not really happy Yom Kippur.
Yeah, it's not a happy thing.
Happy New Year. It's still
Happy New Year. Good Yontiv is the phrase. So
there you go. So let's see. So we're talking about how you changed careers in January of this year.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it. That was basically, I was on that, but you caught on.
So in January, I started with a new organization within the field that I've always been in. I've been in janitorial services, building service contracting, facility support services. There's a lot of names for it, but it really all comes down to something very similar. And in January, I started with a new company, and, don't call on former clients because of A, non-competes, and B, it's the right thing to do for a period of time. And then moving forward, so I'm working a book of business and getting to know folks and getting my name out there, working a territory that had been somewhat worked, and then COVID hits.
And so, but again, I think you're in a position to take advantage of that, because people really weren't knowing what to do, and cleaning was probably top of mind, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, the value of clean has never been greater than it is now. When most organizations look to cut costs, one of the first things that they look at is, what are the big ticket items? And when you look at a facility, there's HVAC and everything related to it. And then there's janitorial services, because, but believe it or not, pennies per square foot, when you're looking at a large facility, really add up. So people will cut corners, organizations will cut corners on janitorial to try to reap more money to the bottom line. Well, now that we are moving through a pandemic, that entire philosophy has changed. It's about cleaning, disinfection, sanitizing, and creating an atmosphere where your workers, your co-workers, the tenants and occupants and visitors in a building feel safe, that the building is clean, that it's safe, and that it's healthy. And there's lots of tips of the trade and different programs and platforms to put in place to ensure that that is occurring.
So is it on a personal basis or on a general overall basis? I mean, as an individual within a big building, any suggestions on what an individual can do?
Sure. So, what a lot of facilities have done is they've looked at their office spaces, and they've taken many of the daily tasks that occur on an individual's desk. And they have really given it to those individuals to handle the daily cleaning and disinfection of their immediate area, their desk, and everything that they touch on their own, because there is a certain amount of people questioning whether things are getting done. So if they're going to question whether it's getting done, it's just simply easier to have them disinfect it the way that they want it disinfected. Before I go any further, let me make sure people understand the terms that I'm using, because there's cleaning, there's sanitizing, and there's disinfection. Now, cleaning is the physical removal of dirt and material. Sanitizing is removing 99.99% of germs, whereas disinfection is removing 99.9999% of microorganisms. So when you hear people using those terms interchangeably, they're really not the same thing. Everything needs to be cleaned, but then to keep up with the virus, you're really dealing with a microorganism and not a germ. And I can talk hours on that boring definition as much as you want. But so when you look at cleaning a facility, the more organizations are increasing the day staff that they have in their facility to create greater touches periodically during the day to ensure that the cleaning is being done. So that does two things. One, it kills the microorganisms. Two, it gives people a good feeling in their heart because they see the cleaning being done. I mean, Bruce, you don't work out of an office, right? You work out of a studio. Do you have a cleaning service for your studio?
Actually, we have a virtual office that I really haven't been into lately.
Okay.
But when we do go in there, it's masks, and I avoid touching surfaces.
Sure.
And they got a hand sanitizer on the desk.
So, most people don't see the cleaning taking place because it's generally done second shift in traditional office facilities, right, where, people are working during first shift. So no one is there. It's easier to clean. And people historically have questioned, is the cleaning getting done? Well, that's why you increase the day staff. One, not only to make sure that the cleaning and disinfection is occurring, but so people see it occur. I'll give you a shout out to an association that I'm part of, the Greater Louisville chapter of IFMA, the International Facility Management Association. And we've been having weekly water cooler Zoom meetings every Thursday afternoon, and because of the virus. And when the virus first came online, one of the members of IFMA asked me in front of the group, and there was probably 25 people on the Zoom. He said, Sean, I want to make sure my facility is disinfected all the time. You're an expert. How do I do that? I said, that's easy. How many people are in your facility? He said, 300. I said, great. We'll hire 300 cleaners to follow behind them and wipe everything they touch all day long. Nobody laughed. He said, no, seriously. I said, no, seriously, it's you. If you want it disinfected all the time, that's what you have to do to ensure it happens all the time. So it comes down to a matter of exposure. What is a willingness, an acceptable level of exposure for people to have? Because once someone else touches it, you don't know where their hands have been.
Which is why the first thing I do when I get back in from anywhere is wash my hands. But then again, I've been driving,
right?
But I'm the only one who's driving, so I'm the only one who's driving.
Do you clean your steering wheel?
Excuse me?
Do you clean your steering wheel?
Not as often as I guess I should. Yeah, so I guess when you get into the car, wherever you've been, you need to clean your hands before you get into the car, before you start touching things.
I am sure that is what the CDC recommends. The CDC makes various recommendations, and then they change those recommendations. And really, the whole difference in cleaning right now is frequency, how often the tasks occur. dwell time to ensure that disinfection is occurring. The disinfectant needs to dwell or sit on a surface wet for it to kill the microorganisms. And then just ensuring it's getting done through a level of accountability. Other than that, it's perfectly simple. What's been a challenge is finding people that are calm enough to have a conversation.
So, speaking of sales.
Speaking of sales, yes, I was leading us there eventually. I'm sorry.
So, it's been, I mean, this is great information. It's stuff that, because again, I think we've curbed our activities, our production facilities quite a bit since February.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a lot more post-production. We're doing a lot more virtual. And we're not doing those one-on-one meetings anymore.
No, not at all.
I guess you're not as well. As far as finding a big client or a whale type client,
Sure.
or even a minnow client who will be there consistently, how are you reaching out to those people now? Is it still traditional sales model, or is it a lot more online?
So, the phone is king, but so is online. The cold call at the moment is dead. Cold calling had a place pre-COVID because sometimes you would show up and you'd actually get the information you need from a willing person at the front desk. When COVID first hit, I was in an interesting position because I needed to build a book of business and I needed to dial the phone and talk to people about that. Whereas every sales guru out there was saying, whatever you do, don't cold call now, only talk to existing customers. Well, when you're in a contractual business and you're in sales, well, it's about finding more contracts. So it's not about, and I'm not sure how our ownership will like this phrase, but I've said this to him myself. It's not about closing the deal. It's about finding out where people have been, what they've been doing, listening with empathy, and figuring out how to solve their problems. And the sales will come. I have a tremendous sales funnel at this point where I have all kinds of proposals out there. I've closed proposals this year. And I expect to finish 2020 incredibly strong because I have listened to people and heard what their concerns are and not led with, yeah, we're a janitorial company, we can disinfect your facility. Nothing turns people off more than that at this point. You don't know what someone's going through. You don't know if they have a relative that's ill. You don't know if they have kids hanging around them because they're working from home. When you look at the various silos for cleaning, I mean, think about it. There's multi-tenant office buildings.
Yep.
There's commercial headquarters for Fortune 500 companies, and there's manufacturing facilities. Well, most office space that isn't connected to a manufacturing facility has everyone working virtually. So that's really not a target to pursue. Everything has turned around the manufacturing facilities because they got their act together immediately so they could keep the supply line and the supply chain going for our country. As far as speaking with people and how to prospect in these times, I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. Now, everyone, in the world isn't, but there is an opportunity that is going to be forthcoming where I reached out to on LinkedIn. I saw that I had 3 common connections with a chief, whether it's a chief executive officer, chief operating officer, a chief officer at one of the large companies in our country, matter of fact, international company, that if I said the name, everyone would say, oh yeah, I know them. I don't know anyone who has not heard of this company. And I went to connect with that person on LinkedIn. And I sent them a simple message that said, hey, name that I will not say at the moment, we have a few connections in common. Let's connect here on LinkedIn until we speak. And, I'm on LinkedIn every day, multiple times a day. And I saw a few days later that this individual had connected with me. So then I did something really radical. On LinkedIn, you could send videos to people as a greeting. So I sent this individual a video greeting introducing myself and telling him flat out, well, you must have had a reason to connect with me. We provide janitorial services and disinfection services. I know you're not the person to talk to. Who should I talk to? Shockingly, I'll say it again, shockingly, within an hour, this individual gave me all the contact information for the person I needed to talk to. I then reached out to that person, name dropped how I'd gotten his information. And now we're part of a enormous RFP that will be forthcoming. And it's all because I reached out to a guy with an enormous title and an enormous company on LinkedIn. And so why did I do that? Well, what do I have to lose?
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Ignore me.
Yep. I saw the same concept in the movie or the play, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, where he basically walks into the elevator and he bumps into the president of the company. And the president says, don't talk to me, talk to this guy. So he turns around and goes over to the guy. He says, I just bumped into the president of the company and he told me to see you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And it's paying dividends. And I think, people that are doing things the old way, or waiting for this to pass, they're going to be left behind. I mean, it's not one new way to do things. It is multiple new ways to do things. I've started posting videos. Yep. Every shot not taken is guaranteed to miss. Absolutely. That is absolutely true, Wes. I've started a daily stream in the afternoons called Litvak Leadership Live, where I'm interviewing people. Our positions are swapped. You'd be in the box I'm in, I'd be in the box you're in, and I'm interviewing people. You've actually been on my show. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
So now you're in the
Welcome to Litvak Leadership Live today.
So good. I think I was on your show.
You were
last week. So I will put a link in the description for that link as well. And again, you talk about personal ideas and what drives your guests. And I think one of your favorite questions, and I think I'll ask you this as well, is what is your least favorite cleaning activity in the house?
So my question is actually, what's your least favorite cleaning activity? Because I'm in a commercial cleaning company, not a household cleaning company. But since you asked me about the house, my least favorite cleaning activity is anything that requires pouring a large amount of grease or gravy into your kitchen garbage can. I have this irrational fear that although the grease or gravy has cooled down, that just because it's grease or gravy, it's going to melt the plastic in the can and everything will fall out of the can when I lift up the bag.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of my first job. I used to work at Arby's, and one of the jobs there was every 2, 3, 4 weeks, we would empty the grease or the oil from the fry machine to put a new oil. And I think that was one of my jobs, was to pour out the oil. And you did definitely have to make sure it was cooled down.
Yeah, that could be a huge safety hazard.
And so I think I saw one quote of yours on, it was on LinkedIn, actually.
Okay.
I'll put that in the comments here, which is, it's coming up.
There we go. Oh, now I can see the comments. I had it clicked wrong.
So let me just pull it up. So do you know what our year 2020 of COVID has taught me? See more possibilities that exist out. Actually, it's your quote. Why don't you read it?
Sure. See more possibilities that exist out there for yourself and others. Believe regardless of your circumstances, you will attract an abundance of opportunities. So, and that is kind of a, there it is, opportunities. Thank you. Lifestyle for me. I have never been one to complain about circumstances. I have never been one to look at the glass and say that it's half empty. I have always been one to look at how things are done. And when I hear about a better way to do something, or that there is a problem that needs to be solved, my general approach has been, well, why don't we do it like this? Why don't we try that? And especially when someone says, oh, well, we tried that 5 years ago and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we didn't try it right. Maybe there's another way to do it. Maybe the idea was sound, but the execution was flawed. So, you know, when you look at this, I mean, we're in the middle of lockdowns of various levels. Where I live, thankfully, in the state of Indiana, just outside of Louisville, Kentucky, we have reached level 5, which means everything's back to 100%. There is still a mask mandate. So I guess it's really level 0.4.9999999, since we're all walking around with masks still.
Or if you're referring to 4.5?
We were at 4.5 for 6 weeks, which was 75% occupancy or 50% occupancy. We were originally supposed to be at stage 5 in July, and it got delayed. And, you know, people can say whatever they want to say about the pandemic. I'm not here to agree or disagree with all the various facts and statistics, depending upon who you look for and read. Everyone can find any statistics to endorse their own personal viewpoint on it. But what is a truth that will not change it is that the sun is going to go down tonight. The sun is going to come up tomorrow. People have bills to pay and people need to eat. So people need to figure out a way to earn an income one way or another. And whether it is through traditional sales, whether it's through doing something else in addition to that, whether it is looking at the opportunities or the problems in front of you and coming up with solutions, now is your time to come up with solutions. If I spent years writing a book, and during COVID, I finished my book finally. Now I'm looking for literary agents or a literary agent to promote my book to publishers. Well, I was able to get that done during COVID because, you know, you can only watch so much The Sky Is Falling on TV or streaming before you say enough. Done a ton of reading this year. I focus on self-improvement. Those individuals that are always talking about what's wrong, well, they're being a magnet for what's wrong. Yep. Look for opportunity and talk about what's right.
Well, I think I've seen this quote a lot over the last few months is, whether you think you'll succeed or fail, you're right.
Absolutely true.
And so it's all a basis of what? Perspective.
It's all a basis of perspective. And the thing is, people have been pushed down their entire lives in varying degrees. Everyone has had challenges. And the bonds that we have on ourselves, mm-hmm. I believe for the most part, the restraints that we have on ourselves are self-imposed. Because you have restraint and personal discipline. Well, restraint and personal discipline, when it comes to trying new things and having a vision for yourself, you need to break through those restraints and break through those bonds and look at what your vision is, look at what your calling is, and be willing to embrace that and figure out how to get there. And here's the thing. I was listening to a guy named Joe, who's part of this group Megamind that I'm in. And, the one thing Joe said it today when he was being interviewed on another show, but I've heard many of my Megamind colleagues say it, is just go do it. Just go do something. I mean, Bruce, you've got tremendous production value here on your stream. I actually use the same platform on my show, and it's nowhere as slick looking as yours. But you've been doing it longer, and right. This is your profession. You figured it out. But when I first started doing my stream, what did I do? I was just doing it on Facebook. And within a week, I said, no, I need to use this platform. And then I started, popping up the comments with people. At first, I was like, I just need to be able to have a conversation. It's the same thing in sales that, okay, so anyone in sales, some people in sales hate dialing the phone. And the only thing that I have to say to you is, why are you in sales? There is almost nothing more I enjoy in sales other than dialing the phone and talking to people. The only thing I enjoy more than that is hearing someone say yes. Yes, I'll sign the contract. Yes, we want to hire you. Otherwise, I would love to dial the phone all day long, talk to people, and create prospects and bring them through the process. But you got to just do it. You're not going to have the perfect approach ever, because there's always going to be someone that's going to throw up some kind of objection that you may not think quickly on your feet how to answer. But I'm pontificating. Ask me something else.
Okay. So we're talking a little bit about traditional and digital sales and digital marketing. I'm actually the face of my company, so I'm kind of the work on your business, not in your business type. Although I enjoy doing this, which is working in my business and doing this. And so, how are you generating your leads? Is it through your Litvak Live leadership program, or is it through cold? Actually, generating leads is more you sit back and people call you, as opposed to reaching out to people with a cold call and a direct outbound sales message.
Sure. So
our company's more inbound sales, where I put the message out there. I do these broadcasts. People learn who I am. I create personality in my my industry. Inspire. What's the word? Not inspiration. Influencer. Something like that. There you go. So. Sure. I made it almost 28 minutes without flubbing and jumbling my words, which is why I'm in marketing and not in sales. So the question was, how are you generating your leads? And is it through your social media, or is it through traditional marketing?
Yes, it is through everything and more. And as far as flubbing words go, I was in speech therapy until 4th grade. Went out of speech therapy in 5th grade, then went back into speech therapy through 8th grade. And I still stutter at times. And you know what? I don't care. I wear reading glasses. You know what? I don't care. I know, you have to have the confidence in what you are doing. And Bruce, you're great at what you do. So, okay, so you flub a word here and there. It's not the end of the universe. But where to find leads? So, there is no magic secret sauce to finding leads. Know what your service is, figure out who can use your service, and then decide, what size of individual who could use your service, the prospect, can you handle? I know someone who has a smaller janitorial company, and when they first started with their company, they were calling on places where they would clean a couple hours a night, 2-3 hours, or a couple hours a night, 2-3 days a week. In the roles that I've been in, and with the company I'm currently with, and matter of fact, with every company I've been with, we provide services that are 5 nights a week. We don't necessarily look for those locations that are 1 and 2 people. We're looking for larger facilities with 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 people every single night, 7 days a week if possible, 3 shifts. You need to have a mix, just like in any sales funnel, sales process, of your small business, your medium business, your large business, and your whales. And frankly, there's various resources. There's this thing called the internet that some people still refuse to embrace, to figure out, what companies one should be calling on. When you go out and you type something like you live in Cook County. No, you live in Lake County, right, Bruce?
Yep, just north of Cook County.
Okay, just north of Cook County. So someone could type, in Google, largest employers in Lake County. Well, I bet somewhere there is a list of the largest employers in Lake County. Well, look for those lists. Now, it may not have who you need to talk to,
Right.
but that's where you got to do more research. So there needs to be a balance between research and contacting, and research and contacting. You have to have enough research so you have enough people to contact. And then when you go to contact people, you need to dial the phone. You need to send emails to people. You need to connect with them on LinkedIn. I have recently started connecting with more people on Facebook. I've really, for years, kept Facebook separate, just for friends. Now I'd say probably maybe 20% of people that I am friends with on Facebook, I've never met and have no idea who they are, but they're friends of someone that I'm friends with. And ask people people should know what you do for a living. There's nothing wrong with asking people if they know someone at a certain company, or if they have any suggestions who you should be talking to, what businesses.
Yep.
And just networking is a lifestyle, and there's lots of avenues to do it.
And these days, there's no such thing as a cold call, because you can do your research before you make that call. They may not have heard of you, but you know about them, and if you follow them on social media, or you follow them just by Googling them, you can discover what they're doing, and you can lead with that, which, okay, I can see that you just did this. Congratulations on your work anniversary. Congratulations on your company anniversary. Just the other day, it was Google's anniversary. So did you call Google, say, Mr. Google, hi, congratulations on your anniversary?
I did not call Mr. Google. Okay. We're not in California or wherever they are. I'm sure they have other facilities, though. I guess I should have thought of that.
Actually, I think they have sales offices all over the country.
Probably so.
So there you go.
Probably
add them to your list, your prospect list.
Yeah. I mean, what I end up leading with when I call someone, quite frankly, is I don't call them and say, what are you doing for cleaning? I call someone, I introduce myself, tell them what I do, and say, and frankly, I'm just calling to see how you guys are doing. Is there anything we can do to help you? And I generally have people say, what do you mean, help me? Well, and then I start talking about, we provide disinfection services. We provide custom labor support. We provide cleaning services, and are those things going well for you? And then I'll follow it up with, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help you. I can even consult for you and look at things and give you some suggestions if you'd like. And people are amazingly open to a conversation like that 30% of the time. If you're calling someone now and say, I'd like to give you a proposal, you're going to meet a brick wall.
Yep. Because the last thing they want to do is call them up and say, hi, because I get that whenever I do on Twitter, people, although it's a lot less these days, is you connect with someone on Twitter and all of a sudden you get a message saying, hi, I sell this, but come buy this.
Wow. Yeah, I most of the direct messages I get on Twitter are people wanting to sell me stuff. But even on LinkedIn, it just kind of blows my mind that you'll connect with someone, and then all of a sudden, after you connect with them, you will get, I'm sorry,
a phone call. Although, didn't you kind of do that with that company that you are following up with a voice message or the video message?
No, so that one company, I had connected with the individual, and it was like a week later that I sent him the video. So when you connect with someone and then you suddenly get a LinkedIn message this long that talks about everything they can do for you, it's like, dude, take a deep breath. Why don't you let our relationship, our connection marinate a couple days? Are you so hard up for business that you connect with someone and you immediately jump on it like it's a piece of warm meat?
But
At least that's not my philosophical approach. So,
although I think one things that I kind of lax at is that follow up, which is someone gives you a referral. Although in that case, you do need to jump on it right away, right?
right, when you
So
get a
someone gives you a
referral,
referral and says, "Contact Joe about this. He's interested." In
yes,
that case, you want to be there, Johnny, on the spot.
absolutely. That is
Okay.
altogether different. That is a referral. That's an introduction. When you are connecting with someone for the first time, a complete stranger on LinkedIn, and you've sent them a note that says, "Hey, let's connect," and then they accept it. In my opinion, but this is, depending upon if they send me a message back after they've connected with me and I've invited them to connect and they send me a message, then I might tell them what I do. But they should already know what I do because they've looked at my LinkedIn profile. If they just are connecting with me, I'll wait an appropriate amount of time before I send them a message telling them what I do, and looking at their company if I'm interested in working with them, and if not them, someone else. There's nothing wrong with asking for that, but I think to do it immediately cheapens what one does.
So I was just listening to another show. It was called Kellen's Coffee Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And on there, the guest, his name is Joe Soto.
Right.
He brought up this one book. It was called by Gary Vaynerchuk, Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Right.
And in this book, it's about maybe 7 years old. In this book, he's talking about the concept is give value, give value, give value, and then ask or then offer or send them an offer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that way of communication is actually what you're kind of doing with your show, your daily show live, is you're offering content and value. And then after they've gotten to know you and trust you and like you, and not necessarily in that order, is then you have an offer. So, okay, well, by the way, I'm holding this class, or I've got this program that I think you'd be interested in joining.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another concept about building an audience and building leads, is to create value out there for them to follow you and get to know you and build that relationship. Although on social media, people usually tend to have it a one-way communications.
Right.
And that's kind of old school, like with television and radio,
Right.
where you're the broadcaster and they're the audience. And now, especially here, we've got a live audience and we've got interaction with Brian and with Wes and with JR, where they're talking back to us, or
Mm-hmm.
and they're carrying on a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, if you're going to be on social media, you need to engage with people. Let's remember, it's not media, it's social media. So when you post something, and someone has a comment, you really need to either like it and then have a comment back and even begin a dialogue that way. And as you're scrolling through your social media platform of choice, to just be hitting like all the time is, kind of like driving down the street and just waving at people. Engage with people. I have a friend that is a homesteader, and they are a couple months back, they were processing chickens, and if you don't know what processing chickens is, Google it. They were processing chickens, and I typed on the picture, that looks like great fun. I'd love to learn how to do that. I lived in the country for 16 years, and we never did that. We had layers, not meat hens. Let me know when you're going to do it next. And they said, and they responded on social media, absolutely. And now they're having an event in a couple weekends where there's like 6 people who have said, yeah, I'd love to learn how to do this. And we're going to all go there and process chickens. And they have a YouTube channel. And I said, you should take video of us doing this, because I'm sure A, it'll be educational, B, stupid stuff is going to happen that'll be hysterical when you take a bunch of suburbanites to do this, and put it on your YouTube channel. And they were like, okay, that's a good idea. So you got to be social, because the virtual social leads to the physical social.
Yep. And I think we're pretty much run out of time.
Yeah.
So what is actually one last question before we do that is, building on your comment, is beyond that liking comment, and when you comment, you're actually creating a conversation, and you're building on that conversation. So that's another way of building leads and generating that know, like, and trust.
Yeah, it's truly what I do on social media is pretty much an extension of what I do on the phone when I dial the phone to speak with people. I am creating connections and creating relationships. And people don't buy our service or your service, Bruce, because it's so great. They're going to buy my service because they like me, and they're going to buy your service, Bruce, because they like you. Everyone, almost everyone, has a great service in their own niche. Okay, you can find lots of great janitorial companies. I'm sure you can find lots of great YouTube influencers and behind the scenes media organizers. I wish I could describe what you do better. You could tell I'm not in the industry, but
well, that's kind of what we do.
But do they connect with you? They need to be able to connect with you. They need to be able to connect with me. That's what people are buying. They're buying the connection and how they feel.
Yep. And here's a great comment from Jody: virtual social needs to physical social.
Ding, ding. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So where is the best place to find you on the interwebs, and how do they contact you about your cleaning service? Because you pretty much, your area is what, from the Great Lakes almost to the Gulf of Mexico, right down that
street. Yeah, we're in the Midwest and the Southeast. There's lots of ways to contact me. First of all, you see my name, Sean Litvak, there. You can either find me on LinkedIn as Sean Litvak. You can find me on Facebook as Sean Litvak. You can find, with no spaces, obviously, on both of those. You can find me on Twitter as Sean Litvak. You can send me an email at my Gmail, which is, are you ready for this one? It's going to be real difficult. SeanLitvak@gmail.com. I would give you my business email address, but that is more involved, and I don't think anyone's going to write it down. So the best and easiest way to connect with me, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Connect with me, send me a message, and I will respond promptly.
And actually, we'll put all that information in the description as well.
Sure, that sounds great.
So here's a great comment from JR. Thank you, Sean. Enjoyed insights and common sense approach shared.
Thank you, JR. We should connect and talk.
If you haven't connected with him, he is an ESW. So
maybe we have a look.
That is a secret code for emerging sales winners.
Absolutely.
So great. Thank you again. I shall see you today at 2 p.m. Central. That is 3 p.m. Eastern time on Sean Litvak on
Litvak Leadership Live. Look for the Facebook link or look for the YouTube link. We'll be on at 3 p.m. And today my special guest is George Henderson, who is an expert in cyber security. So the question is, is he James Bond, or is he a geek sitting on a sofa using a tablet? Come join us at 3 o'clock and hear more about it and why you should be interested.
Great. And thank you much. I'm going to put up our final banner here, which is, if you look right here, I'm going to put up Sean's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel right there. And then one suggested video that you watch, which is based on your viewing habits. So thank you again, and join us next week on